I'm taking this very seriously. We are trying to address the misconceptions. It's hard because it's not business anymore. They're doing it in a personal way. And in the first time in my professional career, attacks are now personal. They're trying to demonize issues.
No, Larry, it's not personal. It's money. It's straight up green. It's not red, blue, it's green. Larry Fink, one of the country's most influential investors and figures, is taking these attacks on him on ESG investing very seriously and personally. Well, that's fully noted, Mr. Fink. 1 week later, Ohio proposed a bill that would steer investment managers of state funds away from ESG investing. So, do you think that maybe that would annoy some of the leading index investors whose primary focus is to push ESG investing on state-run funds, much like Florida's would? How about that? Florida's a red state, and then Ohio, another red state, protecting their employees' retirement funds, their pensions from wokeism investing. I say good for you, Florida and Ohio, but hold that thought for a second, because I'll show you how that may be some of the reason for the molasses-like response from the Biden administration to the environmental disaster happening in Ohio as we speak. Again, maybe. But did you know how lucrative pension funds are for companies like Blackrock? Answer is very. In asset management, pension funds are the cash cow. But pensions have a fiduciary duty to their pensioners. They have the obligation to make the most amount of money for their pensioners. And ESG investing has done otherwise. ESG has proven otherwise time and time again. So back to our timeline. Well, then a week later, on February 3rd, a freight train carrying a deadly chemical derails in East Palestine, Ohio, after which they conducted a controlled burn of the spill on the request of state officials, supposedly, which released extremely toxic chemicals into the air. So I ask you this, Blackrock, one of the biggest investors in that train operator, Norfolk Southern, you have nothing to say about this massive environmental disaster? Remarkably silent, aren't you, Larry? Cat got your tongue? What is BlackRock's role here in creating this massive catastrophe, not to mention all the other green dealers like AOC, Bernie Sanders, Greta Thunberg? Yeah, you, Greta, how dare you? What say you, green goblins? It's worth asking the questions, though, right? How much does Joe Biden care about a state he lost by a massive, massive margin in the presidential election? A question we ask here time and time again, including last night. How much does BlackRock's Larry Fink care about a state that wants nothing to do with his beloved ESG investing? Or perhaps is Larry Fink ominously silent when his ESG investment in Norfolk Southern could cost him massively if we find out there's negligence? And by the way, Larry, is your love of the green agenda only important when it doesn't cost you green? Just asking. I don't know. I'm just asking the questions, folks. We should all be asking these questions. And one last note. Let's keep a very close eye on the farmland in northeastern Ohio, in the valley, in the coming months. The contamination may seriously lower the value of that land. Just keep an eye on who sweeps in and buys up that land for pennies on the dollar. I don't know. Larry Fink, maybe? Bill Gates? Chinese government? They may be waiting in the wings to do just that. And you can trust them, right? You can trust those people, because they're socially responsible. Yeah, right. Let's bring in Florida Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Patronis. Mr. Patronis, Chief Financial Officer of the state. I love the fact that you guys push back on ESG investing, because we've proven time and time again, the numbers don't lie. ESG investing doesn't compete with the S&P or other indices, does it?
Correct. You're exactly right. I could have listened to your monologue for another 30 minutes. You hit on so many important notes that the American public needs to understand. At the end of the day, it's my job to be a fiduciary for the best return on investment for the citizens of the state of Florida, plain and simple. And then when we started to see BlackRock's performance failing to get to the top of our portfolio management team and down to the middle of the pack, I said enough was enough. We moved out of our treasury $2 billion, the largest amount that's been moved out of BlackRock by any state to date. And now we're proposing policies and legislative changes in the upcoming legislative session. Governor DeSantis has been leading, and we're going to make greater changes to ensure local governments and state governments are not using ESG criteria for their procurement or the scoring of their bonds. We've got companies that are based in Florida that are being debanked because ESG does not fit the business model that is acceptable to them. And that is making it harder to access capital. In addition, it's against capitalism. It's against job creation. So, thank you for turning a light on this.
So thrilled you're doing it in more states. And we noted that a week after it was proposed in Florida, Ohio did the same thing. And just so the folks understand this, so you run the pension fund. These are Florida employees' pension. Their money's there. And you want to create the best return on investment as you possibly can. That's your job right there, Mr. Patronis. And you're saying wisely, astutely, well, that's not the best way to get a return by worrying about what these companies, where their environmental issues are, how they're, diversified with their employees. Mm-hmm. You just care about whether they're making money, if they're making money, more money than the other companies.
Exactly. Look, I grew up in the restaurant business for 30 years of my life. Daddy always used to say, if you want to get somebody's attention, you get in their pocketbook. Well, all I know is when I saw performance fading and where we did not want those metrics weren't where they wanted them, we decided to get into Blackrock's pocket. And then you start seeing all of the propaganda and the doctrine that's pushed out. Larry Fink brought this on himself. If Larry Fink wants to talk about the personal attacks he's gotten, you got to look at yourself in the mirror, my friend. You have brought this on yourself. I just want a return on investment as well. We have seen since the start of 2022 up into the first quarter, you have seen hundreds of millions of dollars being pulled out of ESG-related funds because of lack of performance.
Yeah, and as we may be entering a period of a recession, a soft recession or a harsh one. Who knows? Very important to protect people's retirements and to play around with this social justice warrior bull crap. It's hard to let's put it this way, Mr. Patronis. I spent 15 years on Wall Street. It's hard enough to be good at it when you don't have those handcuffs on, right?
Absolutely. Look, if Mr. Fink wants to change an attitude, a culture, go run for office. Go put your name on the ballot and go put your own efforts and your own resources into changing the pathways, influences, whatnot. But you're not going to use the state of Florida's money to influence your bully pulpit anymore. So again, this is a way we send a message. And if he takes it personal, you know what? You shouldn't have stepped into the ring.
Do you think this may be not? I didn't prep you for this question. Is there politics being played in this? And will they punish Florida, and are they punishing Ohio? Will they punish Florida and Ohio for not being as ESG aware as some of the other states?
Look, there's going to be those in those rooms and those boardrooms that will make decisions that are going to be frustrated by our actions in Florida. I get it. But you know what? At the end of the day, there are other funds that are doing a better job managing money, and we're just simply going to move our dollars where there's better performance. Simple as that. We will, if we're in the restaurant business, if you don't take care of the customer, somebody else will. And that's exactly what we're doing. The customer, being the state of Florida, is not being taken care of. So we're taking our business somewhere else.
Jimmy, I'm gonna ask you a personal question here on television. I just moved down here, moved the show down here, and I'm a new resident of the state of Florida. I just went for my driver's license today, and one of the things I'm going to do at the end of the show is show the difference between New York, where I came from, and Florida. That zero state income tax, is that here to stay?
Oh, absolutely. So actually, in the state of Florida's Constitution, the most recent Constitution Revision Commission, we made it where if you were going to increase a single tax or fee in the state of Florida, it takes a super majority of both legislative bodies to do it. So not only have we put that particular issue in a lockbox that it can't be accessed, it's here per se. We have built a state based on that type of economic cash flow. And the last thing I'll tell you is last week I was in the Villages, met a family from Buffalo, New York, met a family from New Jersey, met a family from Chicago. And I asked each one of them independently, why did you move to the state of Florida? And I'm thinking weather. I'm thinking grandchildren. No, every single one of them told me is because of the taxes. We were not being appreciated where we lived, and we decided to move to the free state of Florida.
Yep. Great job, Jimmy Patronis. Keep doing that. Great job. Appreciate it. We got a lot of the villages. I'm going to be there on the 25th of February. Jimmy, good talking to you.
Take care. Appreciate you.